Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we turn to talking about the ongoing story surrounding the British royal family. Typically I wouldn't care enough to talk about them much at all, but they have been making waves in the media lately for doing lots of dumb things, including Meghan and Harry bashing our base god emperor and president Donald J. Trump. That's going a bit too far for me, guys. I can stand back and watch these British people and some Euros gush and gossip and waste time talking about these so-called royals only so much. But then when these losers go and try and step on our toes over here, bashing our leader as if they're any better, please. That's why today we're going to go over this full story and talk about why Meghan and Harry are total jokes in the process. To start, the gist of what's been going on is this. Prince Harry married a Hollywood celebrity named Meghan Markle a few years ago. They quickly had a child, but now, almost just as quickly, they are deciding to leave the royal family, stepping away from public life and possibly moving to some place here in North America. This is what led to them talking about moving to the United States. Particularly, Meghan said they might move to Los Angeles, but only after Trump leaves office. Tell us how you really feel, huh? And funny enough, many are saying this comment is one that could really help the president win re-election this year, further prolonging Meghan and Harry's move here too. Funny, but also based on some things that are true. Not only are Americans far less likely to care about the so-called royal family at all, but also Meghan Markle, the newest member, is really off-putting, and she's heavily disliked here as well. Even her own family can't stand her. And now Meghan appears to be tearing apart the royal family as well. More on all of that and more soon, but first, let's roll things back and talk about more of this from the beginning. If you're not in the know or not familiar, you might be asking yourselves at this time, what the hell even is the British royal family anyway? It gets talked about from time to time, and the Brits sure want us to think they're still important and relevant, but really, it's been nearly 100 years since their royals were even actually politically relevant, meaning when they actually ran the country and did things there. And certainly in the past few decades, it's gotten worse, as the royals have divulged into just being these sorts of ceremonial figureheads for their nation, with little to no real power or actual responsibilities at all. They don't do anything for their country except pose and take pictures and hand out awards and stuff. And sure, that's not nothing, but really they're just taking lots of photos and making headlines when they get married and have kids and stuff. And their real actual lives amount to little to nothing now, and they have no political power. They're just like Britain's little celebrity family, except far less popular or talented than typical celebrities, especially here in America. In the United States, you usually have to at least prove yourself in one field or another before you get famous. You could be an accomplished athlete like Tom Brady, a talented singer like Lady Gaga, or you could even be a popular political family like, say, the Kennedys, or more recently, nowadays, the Clintons or Trumps have been pretty big names. And you can dislike these politicians and their families for whatever reasons you like, but at least they had to win elections and gain people's favor through democratic methods. The British royal family didn't, though. They're just descendants of the former kings and queens from their former empire that hasn't been relevant for ages. Many European countries were formerly empires led by monarchies like this too. This happened for centuries, all the way up until around World War II in the 1940s. That was when most monarchies and empires began to fall apart and fall out of vogue. Countries now opting for elections, presidents, and other forms of government. Now, with that said, the royals are just a remnant of a long abandoned political system, and without their former amounts of power and actual things to do, it's turned their whole family into a bit of a joke here. They're just these sort of celebrities who have no talent, and they have no actual skills, and basically the British just follow them around with cameras all the time, trying to watch their every move for some perverse, sort of creepy reason. Next, let's move forward and talk about Meghan Markle. She's an actress and feminist and rabid SJW, and she has been ever since she was a little kid when she used to write letters to the president back then. And around 2018, Meghan Markle was also a 36-year-old divorcee who happened to strike gold when she tricked a royal family member, Harry, into marrying her. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, made that big mistake about 2 years ago, and 1 year after that in 2019, they had their first child, Archie, who was born then. But it didn't take much longer for this new little family to get annoyed with the very public, somewhat demanding life of being part of the royals. I mean, don't get me wrong either. I understand it could suck. They have to be pretty and proper and on stage at all times, but at the same time, it's hard to pity them too, since first of all, they're all filthy stinking rich and never have to pay for anything, and it's all because of this royal family stuff. They never have to spend a dime or pay rent or bills or anything, and this is part of their trade-off. You could say this royal family thing is their job even. They get paid and pampered and spoiled and given everything they want, and in turn they have to be representative lives, go to public events, take pictures, and whatnot. And also, the other reason it's hard to feel bad for the Meghan and Harry situation is because we all know Meghan is the one leading this newly announced exit from their royal family, what some are even now calling a Megxit, reminiscent of the famous Brexit political movement that's been going on recently too. And well, Megxit is harder to feel bad for too, for a number of reasons. First of all, as previously stated, Meghan is highly unlikable. She's an uptight, full of herself, radical leftist, not to mention an open Trump hater who knows little about politics actually, or about the real world or anything. And if you combine that with the fact that Meghan basically seduced Harry into marrying her being an older divorced woman who had little going for her aside from a mediocre acting career, and with all that said, Meghan asked for this, made it happen, and in turn, she should have known what she was getting into when she got into the royal family. Why would you sign up for a gig like this anyway if you wanted to quit barely 2 years later? Well, that's because Meghan is showing another clear sign and trait SJWs seem to share too. They always love to try and have it both ways, thinking they can have their cake and eat it too, so to speak. And in this case, Meghan basically wants to be a royal and have a rich and famous husband, but at the same time, she doesn't want to put in the work and retain the responsibilities this kind of engagement would require. Next, let's talk about Meghan's own family, because as I said earlier, this girl also has a slew of skeletons in her own closet. Most notably, Meghan and her father are not on very good terms at all these days, and they haven't spoken to each other since 2018 when the father didn't attend their royal wedding. Basically, even Meghan's family hates her now, and it goes to show how toxic and selfish she really is. Sure, there are some rare cases where people actually have terrible parents who they should stay away from, but also it's widely known that you shouldn't trust people who don't get along with their parents either, just like with Meghan. It's just a very bad sign and an obvious red flag that Prince Harry frankly should have seen from a mile away before committing to this girl. Regardless, this is where we are today, and Meghan's own family is against her. And now with her new plan to leave the royal family, it looks like she's going to piss all of them off all over again. Meghan Markle's dad has had more to say about all of this too, and an article from Page 6 has more details. It's called Meghan Markle's Dad Accuses Daughter of Destroying the Royal Family. This should be good. Let's go ahead and check it out. Meghan Markle's estranged dad has slammed his daughter for destroying Britain's royal family, accusing her of turning the monarchy into a Walmart with a crown on. Thomas Markle, 75, called his daughter and her husband, Prince Harry, lost souls in an upcoming UK documentary, saying he found it embarrassing the way they were ditching the royals, seemingly for a payday. This is like one of the greatest long-living institutions ever, Markle told Channel 5 documentary Thomas Markle My Story in a clip released Sunday. They are destroying it, they are cheapening it, they are making it shabby, he said. Well put, Mr. Mark. I think I'm going to like this guy already. Sure, he's likely an ass too, and he did raise Meghan into this rabid SJW, but at the same time, in this current controversy, he does seem to be saying things that are spot on. Not to mention, again, it's telling to see someone's father speaking out like this. Sure, he's doing it for his own attention and gain too, and also, as so many like to mention, he gets paid for a lot of these interviews as well, but I don't necessarily see that as a big negative, at least not for him. I don't think the guy's lying or anything either. Sure, this story is set up to shock and gain attention and stoke the flames of this familial drama, which may be getting overhyped, but I like to see this too, and I'd like to point this part out. If Meghan's dad is doing all these interviews because he needs money and he's all broke and shit, then how the hell did that even happen? Meghan's been this rich and somewhat famous actress for a while, and then she married a frickin' prince in England. Why aren't they giving the guy some money then? At least cover his bills or something. Come on. Had they at least tried to help the guy, I doubt he would be doing all these interviews too, but alas, Meghan is an ungrateful, spiteful person who's forcing her dad into bankruptcy and likely into a somewhat poverty-stricken situation. So yeah, he's lucky to get these interview gigs now, and I don't blame the guy for doing this, all things considered. He needs a few bucks too. Markle, who plans to be a key witness against his daughter in an upcoming UK court battle, said he was shocked because his daughter appeared to have every girl's dream after marrying a prince. Every young girl wants to become a princess, and she got that, and now she's tossing that away, he told the 90-minute doc, which Channel 5 said will air in the coming weeks. It looks like she's tossing that away for money, he said. Apparently $3 million on a 26-bedroom home isn't enough for them. It's kind of embarrassing to me, he said. Yeah, well, I can understand why this guy would be embarrassed here. Becoming a princess is the dream of many young girls out there, and clearly Meghan isn't very appreciative of it. Just goes to show how leftists like this will never be happy either. They always push things further, asking for more, thinking they deserve far more than they actually do. It also goes to show her level of commitment, which shouldn't surprise us either since she was already divorced once before. I can see a second separation coming for her in her near future too. When one day way down the road, Prince Harry realizes he wants to go back and stick with his real family who actually cares about him. And of course, he could do much better than Meghan. As for the other talk here, I can't say I'm that reverent or respectful of the royal family and their traditions myself, but I do recognize it's there and it's a long-standing system. And certainly if you're going to even consider marrying someone in that family, surely you must understand and accept what that would entail. And the fact that they would even let someone in like this, like Meghan, and then let them cause drama and split everything up, well, it isn't a good sign. And it does go to show this whole institution is becoming dated, silly, and it's quite frankly falling apart. But this is another situation where it's hard to pity them too, because the royals did let this happen, and they let this wolf into their henhouse. Next, let's move on to the latest part of this Megxit story. Now that Meghan and Harry are leaving the royal family, they're also apparently planning on leaving Britain too. But as mentioned earlier, they're not ready to settle in the US just yet, even though they clearly want to. A story from Fox has more details. It's called Meghan Markle Plans to Move to Los Angeles Only After Trump Leaves Office report. Let's check this one out. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle reportedly want to make Los Angeles their new home following the announcement that they will step back as members of the royal family, but only after Donald Trump's presidency ends. Even though the couple plans to live in Canada to start off, their true goal is to eventually have a home or business in Los Angeles, anonymous sources told the Daily Mail. Markle, 38, has been openly critical of Trump, reportedly calling him divisive and misogynistic back in 2016. The Duchess of Sussex threatened to move to Canada if he defeated Hillary Clinton back in the 2016 election, according to the outlet. Well, looks like instead of moving to Canada, Meghan opted to move to Great Britain, but that didn't last long either. What a flake this chick is. And what's up with all these baseless attacks on Trump here anyway? Sure, the guy is obviously not in the political party you prefer, but do you really have to lie and call the guy misogynistic for no reason? Trump doesn't hate women at all. That's why all of his family and staff, including wives and daughters and nieces and female co-workers, well, everyone who's around and knows and works with Trump loves him dearly. Trump doesn't have parents or family members disowning him, which of course, as we went over, Meghan Markle does. Next, let's talk about this relocation BS they're going through. First, Meghan moves to Britain to be part of the royal family about 2 years ago. And then, after that, after locking down Harry by having his kid, they decide to not only leave that family, but also the country. And they want to come back to North America immediately. But instead of just going back to LA straight up, which is clearly where they want to be, well, instead, they're pulling this halfway stop in Canada for no reason. Even saying, hey, Canada, we're only here temporarily until we can move to a better place that's right next to you. I'm sure Canadians are really stoked to be disrespected like that. Not to mention the Canadian government has already had to agree to spend millions of dollars funding Meghan and Harry's little romp there, providing them with government security and other shit like that, shit they don't really deserve. But the more important point here is this: why don't they just come to LA now? I know they're blaming it on Trump, but that just doesn't make sense. Trump hasn't changed the whole country here, and well, actually, in some ways he's changed it, but it's all for the better. He's made America safer, stronger, more profitable, and more appealing to internationals too. I mean, there's a reason Meghan and Harry want to set up their business in LA one day. It's because they know the States is one of the best places to work and to live. But they also just have to get this biased jab in at Trump here, I guess for good measure, even though it makes literally no sense. There's no good reason and nothing that Trump has done or any other president could be doing that would even affect these rich elites much at all. But they still want to pretend Trump is ruining the country or some other made-up nonsense. And this made-up offense they're coming up with is why they won't come to America until the president is gone. What a joke. And it's ironically making people want to vote for Trump even more because, hey, let's do what we can to keep Meghan and Harry out of here. What do you guys think? Are Meghan and Harry the worst? Is it mostly just Meghan who's terrible here? And why do you think she even hates Trump anyway? Besides some bogus allegiance to liberalism based on her growing up in Hollywood, but besides that, I really don't see any actual justifications. Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button to help support this channel, and we'll see y'all next time.